Bitcoin had a beautiful bounce at 100k. The S&P 500 is once again above 6,000 points. And Cronos had a beautiful test here of the 21-week simple moving average. All the ingredients are there for a crazy move to the upside. But I still hear a lot of bearish people. So what is going on? Well, guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. This video is sponsored by Interlude, the play-to-earn game on the Cronos chain. In all honesty, the past week hasn't really been bullish for crypto. Since Bitcoin touched $112,000, we've been only going down. And not only for Bitcoin, but also for a lot of altcoins showing like double-digit red numbers. But yesterday, it finally happened. We checked off 100,000 again for a quick retest. And the reaction was beautiful, a big bounce. And guys, we've been talking about a healthy correction in many videos, so it only makes sense that we finally had this retest. And what I like to say though is that while many altcoins have double digits, take a look at Cronos here. Many people are watching now for Cronos, and Cronos is still hovering at about 10 cents, so definitely not too shabby. Anyways, in this video, I want to show you a few indicators that support my bullish bias. So don't forget to really strap in for this video and hit that like button. But let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been in a downtrend already for the last 2 weeks. Since we set an all-time high here on the 22nd of March, we have been trending down. But simultaneously, we've been also creating this uptrend with consistent higher low. So low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And now, guys, we can see that those two lines are finally colliding. And typically, when we see two colliding lines, it means the end. So we are due for a breakout. And yesterday, we got a breakout, or at least it seemed like a breakout, because we went all the way down to about $100,000 here on the chart. But because of this very important support line, we also had a beautiful bounce up again. And that is very crucial because now it is no longer a breakout, but we call this a fake out. And I got a fun fact for you guys, because typically we do see a fake out before the actual breakout in the opposite direction. So my thesis is here, for the short term at least, that we are probably going to continue back in a range here. Maybe we go up, we go down a bit more, up and down, like I've done for the last few weeks. But eventually we will have a break to the upside, going back to about $110,000, or maybe even higher, maybe even 120 in the relative short term. In that case, we'll maybe see a very bullish summer ahead of ourselves. In that regard, we also see a lot of similarities with CRO. But let's talk more about that after a quick word of today's sponsor. Interlude is a play-to-earn game on the Cronos chain. And the cool thing about Interlude is that you can find actual treasures with CRO in it. Normally, you need to buy that Interlude token on their website to play the game. However, right now, you can earn for free with their rate-to-earn program. You have to like, quote, comment, or retweet on Twitter to earn their in tokens for free. Check them out in the links in the description down below. Anyways, let's go back to CRO, because on the chart, you can see that we're forming this descending wedge formation. And that typically, guys, good news, is a bullish formation. So near the end, we expect a bullish breakout. And our target is still at about 12 cents. But like what we've seen with Bitcoin, we saw a bit of a fake out to the downside. But luckily, we're back again in this formation and even very close to a breakout to the upside. This formation, though, is ending very soon. So I think before we have our live stream on Sunday, we might know what is going on in the short term with CRO. So guys, expect something very explosive in a short amount of time. Then also, we do have another chart for CRO that kind of confirms our bullish bias once more, because do you see how just beautiful this is? This is so damn beautiful here. What we see, the purple line, the 21-week simple moving average. Do you see where we had the bounce? It's almost pixel perfect, just a tiny inch further. But guys, this is as good as it gets really for TA. A bounce here on the 21-week makes perfect sense. This has been a great support line so far in the past. So let's get it. I would say from this point onward, it is up and up and up only. Next to crypto, we also have some macroeconomic news that is screaming bullishness. For example, here we have one more request by President Trump to Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, to lower interest rates, and not just by 25 basis points. No. He's calling for a 100 basis point interest rate cut, so really a full percentage. And so far, the Fed has promised about 3 rate cuts. That was their expectation for 2025. And we've only had one so far. So the question is not if, but when is this happening? And in all honesty, it has been happening already in Europe. In Europe, the interest rates are already at 2%. And also you can see that based on economic data, for example, inflation is truly going down. So now still Jerome Powell is looking not to change anything, but it will change, I would say, sooner rather than later. Also, we do have some other news here. For example, we do see some more news regarding the job market. And here, the US economy added about 140,000 jobs in May, higher than expectations. So the US job market is looking strong. US companies are still looking strong. I do not think the US will really get into a recession. And due to that expectation as well, you can also see that if you go take a look here at the SPX, it is again above 6,000 points. The last time we were above 6,000 points, that was in March of 2025. So we're back again, guys. This is only, I think, going to a new all-time high also sooner rather than later, because the macroeconomic outlook is just in general quite bullish. Finally, I want to show you this reply here to show you kind of how the online sentiment is like, because here we've got a reply on YouTube, but it's the same on Reddit, on X, and basically all across the web. The comment here is saying, I think people are just done. We'll probably go back to about 70K until 2028. And this is just so wrong, guys. In all honesty, take a look at it. Take a look at the charts, guys, before we say anything like this. Bitcoin, it has been going down for 2 weeks. Of course, that's not great. And if you take a look at the altcoin market, it's a bit worse, of course, because since the start of the year, so January of 2025, majority of altcoins are down about 50%. Also for Cronos, we can say that since the start of the year, down about 50%. But typically, the fun thing about these comments, we typically get these comments when things are looking the worst. For example, when we had the trade war, of Trump, what happened with the trade war? Well, it went to about 7 cents for Cronos. Where are we now? It's the trade war, about up 38%. So again, I see this personally as a bottoming indicator. When sentiment is this bad, it is ready for a pump to the upside, guys. So if you feel this, if you feel anything like this, I urge you to remain a bit more patient. It is coming. Of course, no financial advice, but in my opinion, this is always what happens. I want to repeat once more that we had a bullish retest at $100,000. We had a bullish retest of a 21-week simple moving average for Cronos. S&P is once again above 6,000 points. We're still waiting for that inevitable rate cut by the Fed. We're still printing more money every day. Guys, there's only one way, and it is up. It is coming. It is coming. I'm like a broken record, but it is coming. So remain patient, CRO is still about 10 cents. Nothing is dead yet. Yes, be patient. That's the only thing I can say, guys. Strap in, really remain strapped in, because it is coming. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to also check out this video if you're still doubting if you need to buy CRO in the month of June.